Today, as enterprises move from being points of excellence which are in patches to an organization wide, fully digitized, automated, and standardized kind of output providing entities, one always keeps wondering as to what exactly has happened to the process of standardization that defined the industrial revolution. Whether the machines will take over standardization or standardization will take over the machines. If we go to the design level of standardization, whatever may be the capability of the machines have to be provided with a basic standard. Even machines with super artificial general intelligence will depend on provision of inputs regarding standardized processes. As organizations digitally transform, what we are looking at that processes must be analyzed, journeys must be mapped, and from there one standard process which must be transferred into codes for the digital ecosystem to provide value. Standardization, as all of us know, started in the rapid industrialization phase. In classical industrial engineering practices, the different parts are analyzed endlessly, and one standard way as the best way of doing the job is decided to be adopted. As the inventor of this process, famous industrial engineer Taylor told, that this standardization often leads to not just saving of material, it saves time, defects being much less as compared to everybody was adopting all types of practice. The process was that the industrial engineers designed the process after doing a lot of research and investigation as to what is the best way of doing it. The managers implemented those standard process and the workers complied with them. As Ford himself told, till the next best process is invented, this process is supposed to be valid. The problem arose when the way that things are done are to be converted into habits so that these deviations must be kept to minimum. As in the ISO standards, it is determined that defects will be so many small units per millions of processes. How to make standardized processes into habits rather than only a compliance with the manager's instructions. Cultural aspects, training aspects came into mind. In Toyota, for example, standardization of the process is done at the central level by the industrial engineers. Thereafter, the implementation is left to the shop floor where people themselves determine what are the deviations and what are the best way of accomplishing cultural shifts towards the standard. In case of a manufacturing unit, generally this goes through a process diagram and every factory line does one particular job. Easier to have a standardization, measure the deviations, train the staff to have a culture of standardization as a habit rather than something which is directed from above. But in case of a multi-manufacturing at the same point, take for example a bank teller. A bank teller is supposed to print the passbook, open a fixed deposit, change the address, give a remittance instruction, open an LC. A Starbucks coffee has probably 50 menu, and the same operator has to prepare all these things. How to bring standardization there became a challenge, but it was found. People are coming back to have the product only when there is a consistency of the same product across various stores, across various operators, and in different times. Excellence many times requires standardization because standardization leads to consistency, and consistency attracts customers more than individually determined ways of doing things. If in a Starbucks coffee counter, if an operator decides to roast the tea or boil the milk for different periods of time, the results could be different. Now, this feedback loop as one of the main ingredients of enforcing standardization, combined with empowerment to measure deviations on the shop floor and find whatever is the customer feedback, has led to standardization becoming a culture in the new way rather than thinking that it is the enemy of innovation, enemy of individual excellence. Individual excellence is to be measured in terms of adhering to the standards. In case of majority of the jobs which are repetitive, and organizations will thrive when repetitive work with excellence, adherence to the standards become the main principle and habit rather than bringing individual excellence for everything that we do. As we go into the digitization phase of our economy or Industry 4.0 or Web 4.0, standardization will increasingly become microservice oriented, and these microservices will be nothing but individual components of a service delivery or a value delivery, and each of these will be required to be standardized. Thank you very much.